Hello, friends. This is the officially unofficial Geek Channel, and this is your Spoilertastic weekly comic review. I am always Carrie, and I am here to tell you in perfect Spoilertastic vision what I thought of the comics that I read this week. Yeah. So, um, let's get started. First off, I'm going to talk about two comics that are not a part of my normal ranking. However, I did read them a week late. That's why they're not a part of my normal ranking. Um, but we'll start with them. We'll go with them first. Okay, so the first one I want to talk to you about is I Hate Fairyland, #1, the new start off point. I got the Fuck Fairyland cover because, well, we all know me. Um, if you're looking for feisty, you came to the right place. Fuck Fairyland. I Hate Fairyland, #1. The new story arc, storyline, whatever. I had not read this until now, and I've been trying to branch out a little bit more. And this is very interesting. If you have not read I Hate Fairyland before, if you didn't read the previous storyline, yeah, the previous storyline, it's okay because there's this really cute moment where a little mouse or rat is asking his dad to tell him the story for bedtime, and the story is actually about what happened the last time Gert was in Fairyland. So Gert is an adult now, and it's not really working out for her like in regular human land. Um, she keeps on losing her jobs, and she keeps getting fired, that kind of thing. And by the end of the comic, somebody is she not only keeps on getting fired from her jobs, but she gets beat up, right? And she's in an alley, and somebody's come to her and is like, hey, the boss needs her. And so they take her to the boss, and the boss is a person um, that wants to hire her to go find their son. They think their son is in Fairyland. And so that's what this story is about. I really enjoyed it, and actually, I think I'm going to keep reading it. I'm definitely going to definitely go back and read the I Hate Fairyland story previous to this, just so I can see a little bit more detail about where Gertrude is coming from. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was really good. The next one I'm going to talk about, I actually posted about to social media, is Cherish #1 from Dynamite, written by Katana Collins. And this was really good. This was like smart, badass ladies crossed with a vengeance, revenge, vigilante story crossed with Inspector Gadget. Yeah. And if that doesn't make you interested in reading this book, then I don't know what to tell you, because this is badass, smartass, cool women seeking revenge mixed with Inspector Gadget. Yeah, I don't know how else to talk about it except to tell you this. This story follows the tale of Cherish, um, um, and Amelia Fellows. Is it Amelia Fellows? Let me just look real quick, guys, because I posted it the other day. Yes, Amelia Fellows, whom, when she was a little girl, she witnessed the murder of her father. So, a la Batman, a la, um, just about a shit ton of other superheroes. um, so, Cherish witnessed the murder of her father. And she knows that, you know, who's to blame. So she's done nothing but basically plan for this, it seems, most of her life. She's now taking aim and moving forward with her revenge plan, Inigo Montoya style. And she's got some pretty awesome ass gadgets to help her along. So, yeah, pretty much really interesting. I like that. I will read some more when the next issue comes out. So now we've reached to the point where this is this week's books. And as usual, I will tell you what I thought of them from my least favorite to my most favorite of the week. And let's go ahead, let's get that started here, okay? So the first one I'm going to talk to you about, my least favorite book of the week, is Superman Action Comics number 1049. So we have a continuation of the last story where you have three new gods showing up, and it just seems like they're looking for the kid who has Ulgron's fire, all that jazz. They want him. Superman's like, you can't have him, blah, blah, blah. So that all happens. And it's like, okay. So then we have this moment where it's just like, Superman's gonna peace out right now and he's gonna go to Warworld and make a speech. Just out of nowhere. A speech. Yet another speech about, hey, you're free now. Congratulations. Woohoo. Yeah, woo. Just like he peaced out of nowhere and goes to make this speech to the people of Warworld. They're still sitting there waiting for the final, you know, like, where are they going? Like, that kind of thing. Then you have the stuff all going on with Metello, and he is being forced to work with Lex Luthor because Lex is shit. We all know this. And apparently Manchester Black was working with Lex Luthor. Like, that's the disappointment of my week, honestly. Like, that's the disappointment of my week. I'm just gonna be real with you guys. That was the disappointment of my week. This book as a whole, but pinpointed by the whole Manchester Black thing, because Manchester Black not only was working with Lex Luthor for some reason, I'm sure he was being blackmailed in some way, but for some reason I don't even like get that, because Manchester Black is Manchester Black. I don't think he really has given much care to be blackmailed by anyone. So it didn't seem right to me. What would Lex Luthor possibly have on Manchester Black to make that possible? Maybe we'll find out, because Lex Luthor apparently wants him to do something else. And when Manchester Black was like, I'm not interested, I'm not going to help you, I'm a true believer now, he was like, Lex was like, yeah, no, nobody says no to me, kind of thing. And yeah, that happened. That's funny. Please excuse the fact that on my microphone you probably heard me go gulp, gulp, gulp of my water. Sorry about that. Next book we're going to talk about is, we're going to talk about Dark Crisis, the Dark Army one-shot. Mark Waid, a variety of different artists. First off, guys, here's the deal. On one end, I'm perfectly happy with the fact that they've used this book to explain where the heck Damian Wayne was during the last issue of Dark Crisis. I mean, because his best friend gets beaten within an inch of his life by Doomsday et al. And others, meaning, and he's not there. So while I really loved the Dark Crisis issue last week, that was one thing that thinking about it later, I'm like, where the heck was Damian Wayne? Well, here we find out where he was. And part of the problem here is that there are moments in here that would have a bigger impact if the release schedule was different. Such as, for example, the conversation and interaction that Damien and John have before he goes on his mission. So, in a nutshell, Damien has this Crackerjack group that he gathers, some by actual intent and some by mistake. And they go off and they go through to a different dimension to try to figure out what they can do because Damien has a hunch. And it turns out his hunch kind of leads them into a pretty significant place. They do end up, Dr. Light and team end up freeing Justice League Incarnate from their compulsion, by the Great Darkness. So that's good. Cool. Awesome. Though it would have been nice to have this falls victim to the same problem as the World Without Justice League Batman issue, whereas it came out the week, actually the Dark Crisis issue came out a couple weeks ago, then the Justice League Batman issue came out the next week, and then there's this, right? So it falls victim to the fact that it probably should have come out before the last main Dark Crisis title, because a lot of this here loses some impact. There's moments that lose some impact considering the fact that we've already seen the most recent Dark Crisis main title book. Another thing, gosh darn it. Okay, so like the change in artists in the book, I'm just going to throw this out again here. The change in artists part of the way through the book and then the return back to a certain artist, there was not a lot of continuity. I don't want to use the word continuity, but I think you guys, when I explain what I'm saying, you'll understand what I mean. In one spot, Damian Wayne looks 14, 15. The way Damian Wayne seems he should be, right? So like here we have customary Damian Wayne. Cool, right? Looks exactly the way he should. Then we have glow up, grow up Damian Wayne, whom looks like he looks like Nightwing decided to dress up as Damian for Halloween because he looks older. So like we have two different artists handling this book, and we have three different writers too, which actually was not even that big of a deal. Three different writers. I did not see much of a jump in the style. That actually the writing actually like worked into each other, like with the different writers actually paired up well. the art, Freddie Williams, and Jack Herbert. Um, Freddie Williams is the beginning where you Freddie Williams the second, excuse me, is the beginning where you see Damian Wayne like you normally see him. And then Jack Herbert is where we have the glow up Damian Wayne. Um, that took me out of the story a little bit. It's a little weird. It was a little weird. So, next one that we're going to talk about is, and guys, you're going to be really surprised at this one, but Harley Quinn number 24. Yeah. Harley Quinn number 24. Number 24. Harley Quinn number 24. I normally do not like this artist's work, but when this came into my apartment, I was like, I actually really liked that cover. Yeah, this is Lee Bermejo. Bermejo? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I am not, sorry. Um, Guys, I gotta be honest with you. Basically, what we're doing here is we are trying to figure out who killed Harley Quinn. And Harley is a little bit peeved right now because she's not feeling all that respected or appreciated, and people are not really seeing who she really is, she thinks. But she is going to figure out who killed her if it's, and she doesn't care the method that she does it. She's peeved, right? Somebody like tried to freaking kill her. Another problem we have here, no Kevin. No Kevin. Kevin Kevin would have been the voice of reason here. And we have no Kevin. And so she takes Victor Zsasz hostage, and she's trying to get Victor Zsasz to tell her what he knows, and he really doesn't know much of anything except that there are other things, other crimes happening, other deaths happening, and in kind of ways, right? And he is like, there's something going on, and I definitely don't know what's going on, and she's not really buying it, but eventually she does, because the cloaked figure that we've seen in other issues recently has come forward and expressed who they are. And guys, it's pretty fucking cool because it's back when the Batman Who Laughs was coming out. Um, there was different artist representations of different kinds of characters, like such and such who laughs, and one of the ones that I sought out personally was trying to find a really cool cover variant art of the Harley Quinn who laughs. That one of my favorite representations of it was by Francisco Matina, and he it was really cool. But it was not a character that was in the Batman Who Laughs. It was something that was on this like cover art and everything like that. But the person supposedly that looks like killed Harley Quinn is the cloak figure is the Harley Quinn Who Laughs. So that's pretty cool. For kind of a slow middle part of the book, no Kevin, we get that reveal at the end, which was pretty cool. I'm just saying, that was pretty cool. Moving right along, we're gonna talk about Sergeant Rock versus the Army of the Dead, written by Bruce Campbell. This is issue 3 of 6. Okay, here's the thing, guys. Nothing really exciting happens, but it's also not boring. It's pretty good. It's just good. It's just good. It's just good. I have nothing bad to say about it. I have nothing like absolutely astronomical to say about it. It's solid. It's solid. And it's solid. I keep reading it and I keep on thinking I'm going to stop reading it, and then I read it. This is the 3rd issue. And I'm going to read the 4th issue, and I'm probably going to read the 5th issue, and I'm probably going to read the 6th issue because it's just good. Like, I have no complaints. But I'm also not like over the moon about it. But it's good. It's good. It's good. Okay? It's solid. It's good. Moving on, we have, I did not expect this to be, when I read the 1st issue, it was a solid issue. But it wasn't exciting me. Okay? It wasn't exciting me. However, punchline number 2, the Gotham game. First off, shout out to Bruce Wayne for giving Harley Quinn the respect she... If only Harley could have been in the room for that, because there's this moment where Batman is talking to Nightwing, to Dick Grayson, and they're talking about the difference between Punchline and Harley Quinn. And Dick Grayson is like kind of like, you know, the next Harley Quinn, and Bruce is like, au contraire, Dr. Quinzel. He referred to her as Dr. Quinzel. He gave her the respect that she's looking for in her other book. Unfortunately, she couldn't be in the room for that one, but I'm sure she would have appreciated that. Thanks, Bruce. Thanks, Batman. Thank you. So the thing is yes, Batman is involved in this, and yes, Batman is on Punchline's tail. And we know from reading Catwoman that Ioko, Catwoman's friend and the head of her own clan family, is not necessarily thrilled that Punchline is using the old Ace Chemicals at in Alleytown as her hideout. So we know that she is headed over there to put the law down. And she goes over there, and there's a fight, and Batman comes in, and it looks like Ioko is got the upper hand. And the problem is Batman's like, you can't kill her, you can't do, blah blah blah. And like Batman does. Like Batman does. Yes, indeed. He tells her, you can't kill her, or I'll arrest you. And whoopsies. That distracts her long enough for Punchline to really, like, put the fucking knife in Ioko. And at the end of the book, it's like, Batman's like, are you freaking kidding me? If you weren't afraid of me, just wait until Catwoman hears about this. Now is basically the end of the book. And so now, after reading Catwoman recently, after reading this, I'm like, yes, thank you. Give me this. Give me this. Yes. This was a lot of fun. It was like, yes, give me more Catwoman in many books, everywhere. More Catwoman. Thank you. I love Selena Kyle. Did you figure that out? I love Catwoman. Next one we're going to talk about, and you guys are probably like being like, okay, you got 2 books left to talk about. What's Carrie going to talk about next? We are on the last 2 books of the week, and I'm going to talk to you about Detective Comics number 1066. Okay, so I love Jim Gordon. Jim Gordon is just this solid individual in Batman's life that is just like, I had totally forgotten about how Jim Gordon in the last Detective Comics issue was just like, let me bandage up Batman. I don't want to know who he is, so I got to do this in the dark and just feel my way through it. And Batman finally wakes up, and Jim's just sitting there having a glass of whiskey, reading the paper. Okay, so Haynes just kind of gives him the lowdown on what's going on. Batman is just like, I'm glad you're back in town. I missed you. And so Jim Gordon is now working with Batman again, but this time as a private investigator. And I love it. I love it, love it, love it. You have the interactions in both the first story and the secondary story, involving Harvey with the demon, and how it was kind of like shaky for me before, but I think I'm starting to get what's going on there with Harvey, that there's a demon in there. um and so you have three parts going on through Harvey Dent, and you've got Harvey, right? You've got Two-Face, right? And then you've got this demon that's in there as well. And he's doing his thing. The demon is in charge of Harvey, because you find out that the demon is in charge of Harvey, not Two-Face, not Harvey is in charge. The demon is, because Harvey goes through the motions, Two-Face goes through the motions of flipping the coin and then shoots somebody, and then you find out later that the way the coin flip should have worked in that person's favor. So what's going on there? You have the Prince Argum, who is tearing down the old asylum building. Okie dokie. All right, Smokey. And you have him doing his own thing, being all weird and stuff. And then you have the fact that Batman is trying to investigate what's going on, and what happened to the dude that he was originally fighting in the river, um, was found washed up. And the problem is nothing that Batman did to him should have done all that. So something came along that looked like an animal, like a beast, to kill him. This dude that Batman was fighting in the last issue. So Batman does find this dude, and he is a lycanthrope, basically. But it's not like a lycanthrope that can that changes with the moon, the phases of the moon. No, it's like a lycanthrope that changes, has like a eh, it's like a little gas type serum type thing that can induce this change. And that's interesting. I'm trying to figure out how that works. If it's just a if it's technically not a lycanthrope, or if it is a lycanthrope and Ron V is just taking this different um creative idea, and trying to make the whole thing his own, would not surprise me. um or what's going on there, because Mr. Freeze is now also there as well. And Mr. Freeze was fighting this lycanthrope type character and accidentally froze Batman solid. And that's pretty much how that ends. And you get the secondary story that has more of the whole battle between the three parts of Harvey Dent. And that was interesting, very psychological, and I was digging it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and let's talk about the last issue, the best issue for me this week, which, considering everybody else's reviews of this, I was ready to not like this. I was ready to think that this was filler or whatever. I was ready to not like it. However, Detective Comics made me interested. It interests me. But this book made me feel something. And that's Human Target, number 9 by Tom Kane, art by Greg Smallwood, hitting it out of the park once again, in my humble opinion. Um, we start the issue off, and Ice has to bring Christopher Chance back to life. She has to save him because he is not breathing. He's She has performed CPR on him. He gets him to the dock at Justice League International, brings him back, and he tells her, okay, here's the thing. I am dying, and I have so many days left. He suspects that, just kind of it seems kind of out of nowhere, he just starts suspecting that Batman is going to be looking for him because of the whole thing that they pulled with the last issue, making it seem like Guy Gardner was still alive and called out on duty, all that kind of stuff. He spends this entire book looking out for Batman, looking out for Batman in disguise, looking out for Batman in his car, looking out for Batman everywhere. Just decides when he's able to get into a car and just start driving with Ice through the desert. And this whole thing, he is running away from Batman, running away from darkness. And it's this whole idea of running away from Batman, running from the darkness, is a theme throughout the entire book, because you have the moment where Ice is talking about how when she died and before she's brought back, it was just darkness. It was just nothing. It was just darkness. It was something, and then darkness and nothing. And then when she came back, it was something again. And so you have that. You also have the idea that the darkness being death. So that, tying into that, so you're racing away from the darkness. Now, why is that important? Well, because Christopher Chance is going to die. He has been poisoned. He, in the line of his job, he's the human target. He gets paid and he does this job to be in this position. And he talks about how when he witnessed his father's death, and his father, all the, gosh, let me just pull this out and I'll just read it, because she's just like, why are you acting like you're acting, and everything like that, like what's going on here. And he says to her, I was dead this morning, I'll be dead in 4 days, I'm done. But I can't. I can't lose anymore. There aren't enough days with I love you. That's all. I fucked up. And then there's like a narration. That's what he says to her. And then there's this narration. It says, I watched as my father died on his knees, sniveling to an idiot. After seeing that, I never cared about anything or anyone again. because all that leads you back to where my dad left off, hoping for mercy instead of fighting for it. So I spent my days putting on other people's faces, taking other people's death. I had nothing, and that was worth something. And so I charged them for it, and that was enough for a long time. It was a cold life, and I lived it. And now, in the middle of a house made of ice, at the center of the desert, as the wind blows strong, I feel nothing but warmth. Of a life chasing and charging and making a business out of death and murder, taking other people's death and dealing with it, and just doing what he did. He didn't care. He didn't have anyone to care for. He didn't have any reason to question being like that. And the moment when it is the most true, the moment when he knows his days are numbered, he is running away from death instead of running towards it. All of his life running to death, being the human target, and all of a sudden now, he cares. He's running away from death, from the darkness, because he found warmth and something to care about. He doesn't want to go. He wants to stay with her. Because in that house of ice, in the middle of the desert, all he felt was the desire to live. Out of a life of chasing and cheating death, he finally found the desire to live in the time when he is most vulnerable, when he is most likely to die. And he's running from it as quickly as he can. It says something. It says a lot of things. I mean, it says, how do I get to be profound like this? Because you know what? I wrote 2 volumes of poetry. I write all the time. And right now, I'm trying to find a way to be as profound in one statement as Tom King. And I don't know, I'm thinking about it, guys. I'm thinking about it. And I thought I would know what to say by the time I got here. And it's just, all I have to say is, damn, that's good. Oh, shit. It's irony. It's irony. It's ironic. Isn't it ironic, don't you think? That this character would spend their whole life running into the burning building, chasing death, not being afraid of it. And then the moment where it's most likely, and it's futile. It's a futile moment where he's just sitting there and he's just like, I just don't want to go. Wow. Not all of us are somebody out there might be like Christopher Chance, you know, like doing something where they run into to burning buildings for a living to save people, you know, like or they guard important people and willing to take bullets for important people and people that do work like that all the time. And I sit at home and I work in basically a home office situation where there's not a lot of chance there. um but just it's like oh god, what was it? Dylan Thomas. It's a poet. uh Rage against the dying of the light. Do not go gentle into that night. Don't go gentle into that night. There it is. Dylan Thomas. Rage against the dying of light. And that's where I'm going to leave you guys because we've had things happen in this world lately and in lights being extinguished everywhere for whatever reason, for other whatever course or reason or what have you, whether it's war somewhere clear across the planet or it's somebody struggling to go on in a room by themselves and it's just rage against the dying of the light. Just do it. Because when it comes right down to it, there's a time when your reason for that rage and that rage may be all you have. So use it. That's it for me for today. Guys, rage against that dying of the light, and I'll be talking to you soon. Thanks for being here with me. It's the officially unofficial geek channel, Spoilertastic Weekly Comic Review, where we have the feels and they keep on coming. Thank you, and I'll be seeing ya.